where you guys are innovating in, but or where you're wanting an innovation path or an R&D pathway.
Okay, that totally makes sense. Okay, so how about other examples that where, or they can be smaller examples where you necessarily didn't rely on, like fundamentally, like that's still the journey that you just walked us through relied at least initially on a lot of the traditional methods. Do you have much experience using other external data sets? Like, I'm just making this up, Amazon reviews or like some of the other external data sets and how you incorporated that into your work? Like what tools did you use? How did you find it influential or not, right? So less on the data that you've created yourself, but the data that, I mean, some of it you don't necessarily have to pay for, but like there's just a lot of data out there in the universe.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit of an older example, but in the tire industry, if you think about, and again, this is why it may not be relevant if you guys are doing perfumes or scents or things like that, but in that universe, tires are sold to vehicles, and so we used Claritas data to figure out what types of vehicles were where, and we're able to model it and be able to go to retailers and at the time emerging online dealers and give them a product, a product view of here's what the product portfolio should look like to optimize that. And as vehicles are changing, tires need to change too. So then that would influence the R&D community. So you start with that base of data, but then you forecast where technology is taking that part of the industry, so that then the components that we were a part of, how do we enhance them in such a way that it delivers on the bigger vision? And again, getting beyond the very specific, what is the current product and how do we just, add a third steel belt? Well, that's all well and good, but I don't think anybody's going to pay for a third steel belt. So let's stop iterating, or let's stop spending some new resources on figuring out how to put a third steel belt in there, which is really expensive and nobody will pay for, and they don't even understand the value of it. Let's refocus those energies into different areas.
And when you say areas, you're talking not only areas of technical innovation, but quite literally areas of the country based on where the cars were. Do you have any other examples like that one? That was actually a good one that helped us understand how you're using it. Anything more recent?
Yeah, in just a few years ago, when I was the head of an innovation center in the furniture industry, to similar type of dynamic, which is, I went to a company that was losing $300 million a year, and the head of the company said, we don't know why we're losing so much money, and we need intelligence, and we need a different innovation plan because people aren't buying what we're making. So and that's where we started with that in that industry, scanner data is not prevalent. It's a very data desert type place. So we had to create data, which is not, I know you guys are wanting something more things like Amazon data. I mean, to me, data is data. Wherever you can, if it doesn't exist, you create it, and if it does exist, you mine it. But in that case, we were able to figure out, people aren't buying what we're making because we're selling it where they don't shop anymore. What we're making is out of style, and it's too expensive. And we did that by doing a market assessment study, segmentation, figure out who we want to target, and figuring out what they need and want, and then created a innovation strategy. And then we got real tactical with it. Then we did do concept testing, but we knew at least where we wanted to focus. And in that, here's a great example. We